There's a new tank in the store. It's called the Smasher. It's a Tier 7 weird looking KV2. But what's it all about? Well, it's basically like a KV2, but it can do things like this. Boom! But is it worth the money? Is it any good? And do you really need it? Well, let's have a closer look. Hello again everybody and welcome back to Fujit's Blitz, and yes, we're looking at the Smasher, the Tier 7 KV2 monster. But is it just a high price collector? You heard me correctly, it's a collector. This thing will set you back approximately £28 or $30 or 30 odd euros. It's not cheap. That's what it looks like. Pretty funky, doozy looking tank, if I may say so myself. But basically, it's a KV2 with spaced armor and the like. It's just a KV2, which has sort of had the Tankenstein treatment given to it. That's the reason why it's called a Smasher. Now, this one sits in the hybrid nation. As you can see from the armor profile, it's pretty trolly. There's a lot of spaced armor. The turret is pretty chunky, pretty thick. It's pretty nice. And if we pair it off against a KV1, well, as you can see, front on, yeah, it can be penetrable. But to be honest with you, I've rolled out on this thing, and it's pretty difficult to pen. So what about the stats? Well, DPM, it's 2,534 on its standard AP. That drops down to 2,158 on its heat, which is its premium rounds. And if you stick in the HE, it goes up to 3,800. Penetration wise, on your standard AP it's 140, on your heat it's 250, and on your HE it's only 85. This is without all the calibrated shells and whatnot. However, damage wise, this thing is a monster. It will dish out 640, which is the best damage in its tier on its AP. That drops down to 545, again still the best in its tier on its heat, and it rockets to 960 on its HE. These are the best damages you can get in its tier. Rate of fire just shy of 4 rounds a minute, which gives you a reload time of just over 15 seconds. Aim time is, well, just under 2.5 seconds. It's a little bit better, I find, than the KV2. The good angles, wow, depression 6 degrees, elevation 15 degrees, and its mobility is pretty slow. You'll get 35 going forwards and 12 going backwards. What you do, however, get is a derpy gun. And you get a derpy gun that is both able to penetrate in its AP and cause a lot of mayhem, able to penetrate with its heat and cause a lot of mayhem, and able to cause a lot of mayhem with its HE, like you're going to see here with the T25. Goodbye! I mean, that's a full roll. Basically. I mean, I had oodles of fun in this tank earlier. However, it has got a hefty price tag. And when you think about it, it's just a KV2 with spaced armor. Let's not kill ourselves here. Okay, it's a tier higher. Still just a KV2 with spaced armor. Let's be frank. Let's not kid ourselves, guys. It may be a tier 7 tank, but it's got a tier 5 gun in it because it's a collector. It only comes with one gun, and it's the same gun that the KV2 has. So whilst it may look like I'm dishing out lots of damage, realistically I'm dishing out the same as a KV2 in real terms. The main difference being is the penetration. This thing has slightly better penetration than the KV2, but is it worth that really big cost? I mean, don't get me wrong, I went out in this thing and I loved every minute of it. I mean, it was really good fun. I find the armor is slightly better than the KV2. You get to do a lot of bounces. The reload time is almost 4 seconds better than the KV2, and the aim time is almost a second better than the KV2. So it's not a KV2. Let's get that out of the way. It's the same gun as the KV2, but everything else is slightly quicker. The aim time's quicker, the load is quicker, and it's not a KV2 in that respect. The armor is better. But aside from that, you're dishing out the same amount of damage. okay, you're dishing out more because of the faster reload time. I mean, 4 seconds is a big difference when you're in a game. And, you know, having that better penetration means a lot of your shots aren't as wild. But you're playing in a different tier. You're playing a tier higher. So sometimes you won't. Look at that. You can get to waste tanks in one go, though. It is nice. I mean, you do get to waste the tier 6s in one shot. Of course you do, but you get to waste tier 5s in one shot in a KV2. And the other thing in a KV2, you get to waste other KV2s. I struggled to waste KV2s in one shot in this thing. It took me 2 shots. But what I did find is that KV2 struggled to do more than 400 damage against me in this thing. So, you know, it's a mixed bag, to be honest with you. Like I said, I actually like it. I think it brings a bit of a difference to the KV2. You're a higher tier, so you're taking on tougher tanks, realistically. But I'm coming back to that price tag. I mean, $30, 33 odd euros, £28. It's pretty steep for what effectively is a KV2 in a tier higher with slightly better bits and bobs. Do you need it? Oh, no, I mean, it's a collector. You can buy this thing. It comes with no equipment, by the way. You have to spend more on the equipment. It just comes with an avatar, a garage slot, and that's about it. It's a collector, which means you can sell it and you get 2,500 gold back, which isn't a lot of gold considering your initial outlay. Oh, we got a Kolobinov there, look. I think we were very lucky. But, getting back to the gameplay, putting aside the cost, I'll deal with that later. Getting back to the gameplay, I find this more forgiving and easier to play than a KV2. The reason, I mean, the KV2 has got an excessively long reload at over 20 seconds. This thing, okay, it's over 16 seconds, but it's manageable when you're dishing out derp. And I just find this a little bit more forgiving. However, it's a tricky tank. And I say that because you need to make sure you've got the right ammo selected. Unlike the KV2, where you can get around the battle firing HE, you can't in this. You do need to keep switching between your AP, your heat, and your HE. And I'll give you an example. You will struggle to pen a VK 100-01P with anything. I'm telling you, it's a struggle, and you will come up against them. I mean, this is a tier 7, so you will come up against tier 8 tanks without a shadow of a doubt, and it will struggle against some of those tanks to pen. It's not that type of tank. I mean, its penetration values are okay, but they're not brilliant. They're not setting the world on fire. It compensates a little bit by giving you a bit more trolley armor, which is nice. I mean, I go into a battle here with an Edelweiss. I knock out 570 in the heat, which is quite a lot of damage for your heat round. And then I'm just gonna keep bouncing him for the time being, and then I'll stick in an AP and I'll blast him into next week's garage, which was fun to do. But like I said, it's not an easy tank to get to grips with, and this tank is not for the faint-hearted. You know, don't sit there thinking, well, I like the KV2, this is the same. It's not the same. It doesn't perform the same. I mean, KV2 is tier 6, so you're facing off against tier 5s and tier 7s. This, you're facing off against tier 6 and tier 8s. And against tier 8s, it can hold its own, but it struggles. And that's where the downside is. Because you've got to really know how to play against the tier 8s. As I say, you come across a VK, you are in a world of pain. But I like this tank. It's good fun. And it is good fun. And I went out there and I had a smashing time this morning. Maybe that's what it's called, the smasher. I mean, look at this. I mean, we're rolling up here. Here comes a Tiger P rolling towards me. Stick the AP in and boom. Bye-bye, Tiger P. I mean, I like it. I like the fun factor. I like the fact that it's a tier higher. I like the fact it's a good credit grinder, funnily enough. It actually is a good credit grinder. I like the fact it's basically a KV2, but in a tier higher. So what don't I like? The cost. I absolutely hate and detest the cost. At $30, 30 odd euros, £28, this is out of most people's price range. And for a tier 7 tank, that's a little bit excessive in my book. Okay, you get something that's a bit different, but it's a fantasy tank. You get something that's a bit unique, but it's a fantasy tank. You get something that's good fun, but it's a collectible tank, which means it can be nerfed. Don't get me wrong, it can be nerfed, and it only comes with all the standard 1 gun, 1 track, 1 engine, blah blah blah. And you only get 2,500 gold back if you sell it, which seems a bit pants to me when you're spending £28, $30, 33 euros. I mean, the cost is obscene in my opinion. I like the tank. Do I like it that much? To tell you to go out and buy it? No, is the honest answer. My advice to you would be wait. Wait, because this thing will come around again. It will come around as an event tank. It will come around as a crate. It'll come around as something other than a very expensive Tier 7. That's what I think. I mean, the Tankenstein came around again. The Draken the Housing came around again. They all generally come around again. 30 odd dollars, 30 odd euros, and near as damn it £30 for a Tier 7 tank. That's a collector, and will only bring you back 2,500 gold, is shockingly expensive. However, if you've got the budget, and if you don't mind outlaying 30 odd quid, fill your boots. Who am I to tell you otherwise? All I'm saying is, it's an expensive tank. You need to be aware of that. And is it going to bring you more than what you can already get? No, not really. If you've got a KV2, this is a KV2, it's the same gun, guys. A bit quicker, loads a bit quicker, aim time is a bit quicker, damage is the same, the alpha's the same, because the bloody gun's the same. You're paying 30 odd quid for a KV2 with spaced armor and a crew on steroids. No more than that. Let's be honest, eh? So that's what I think. It's up to you though. I mean, as I said, I'm not going to sit here and force you to do it. I like the tank. Do I regret buying it? I could have spent 30 quid. I mean, I could have bought, what, 15 Big Macs? Oh, you know, a lot of miles pass. It's, you know, these things are relative. And when you consider that the player base is basically in its mid-20s upwards, then okay, £30 is probably within your budget. But don't forget, you're buying a pixelated tank. 30 quid's a lot of money, guys. Okay, it's not as expensive as the Scorpion G, certainly not as expensive as the T22, but they're tier higher, and you know, it swings in roundabouts. All that notwithstanding, you know, it's a crazy price. It's expensive. Don't disappoint. Don't get me wrong. Don't misunderstand me. But it's a fun tank. It's a good tank. It's a nice tank. It is a barrel of laughs on the battlefield. But it's a barrel of laughs just like the KV2 is. And okay, it's only come out today, so I'm rolling out and people are sort of, wow, what's that? It's a funny looking KV2. And you know, people sort of ask me questions, but that will wear off in, say, a few hours once people have seen more of these things going out there. And that's the thing. I mean, the cost will make it slightly unique. Is it OP? No. It's borderline, it's getting there, but no, it's not OP, because it struggles in the higher tiers. It struggles against Tier 8. Most certainly struggles against the VK 100. I mean, God, I came across 4 of those things earlier, and this thing just struggles to pen it with anything. I mean, you've got to get round the back to get any joy whatsoever. Or you've got to hope that the guy playing in the VK is a complete and utter fool and shows his lower plate to you all the time, and then at a push, you'll get your heat round into it. But then at a push, you're only going to do about 400 damage. And then at a push, you're not going to be doing that often, let's be honest. However, what you are going to be doing often is what I'm about to do now with this poor little AMX. AMX, hello, goodbye. But you can do that in a KV2. You don't need to spend this much money on a bloody steroided out KV2. Let's be frank, you don't need to do that. You can do that in a normal KV2. You can wipe AMXs out till the cows come home. No different. It is good fun. I mean, as you can see here, I mean, it struggles to kill another smasher. I mean, oh, no, 2 smashers in the game. Quite nice. It does struggle to kill smashers one shot. You can get a lot out of it if you hit the HE. I tried it with HE, I tried them with heat, and I tried them with AP, and I found that HE is the best to shoot against another smasher. but you're not getting your maximum rolls all the time. You know, you're getting splash damage, which equates to around 470 damage output realistically on your HE. And as you'll see in the course of this game, I switch around with some of the ammunition, so you know, because I'm just playing with it to try and get the review done. I'm playing it slightly more aggressively than you really should play it. And after all, it's a KV2. The armor is a little bit better. Yes, of course it is. But the fact of the matter is, it's a KV2. I did have good fun. I did have good fun. Did I have 30 quid's worth of good fun? Well, that's a question for another day. I mean, am I going to roll out in this thing that often? Probably not. I mean, I very rarely roll out in the KV2 that often, only for shits and giggles every now and then. So will I roll out in this thing as often as the KV2? Yeah, probably not. Here we go again, look. HE doesn't really do anything to another smasher. Pretty shame. I mean, an HE roll into a KV2 from a KV2 will take the KV2 out. I mean, an HE roll from a smasher to a smasher, look, he's only knocked me for 200, and I've been knocking him for like 300s. However, you know, you'll hurt a Tier 150. Of course you will. I mean, it's a tier lower. Effectively, it's a Tier 6 tank. Of course you're going to hurt it. And there's another KV2 up in the corner, which I'll swap over in a minute. Maybe have a look at him. Oh, there he is. KV2 menacing. What can we do? Keep the HE in. Hello. Goodbye. But he was on half health anyway. I mean, he was always going to be going sometime this week. Now I'm going to roll down, and there's an AV Sentinel down here on the cap. Okay, I'll take the shot there. Hello, Sentinel, you've got full health. Oh, or have you? No, you haven't. I'm just going to put one massive roll straight into the side of you with my HE. Yeah, you can do stuff like that, but you can do stuff like that with a KV2. Let's be fair. And as you can see, I mean, it's a good credit earner. You get some good credits out of it. I'm still struggling with it. I'll be honest with you. I mean, this is the last game. I'm not going to commentate over it. I'm just going to sort of get my little soapbox out. I mean, I like this shot. Look at that. Well, you only get 214 HE rolled into the side of another smasher. So, well, what do I say about this tank? It's good fun. It was entertaining. But it's bloody expensive. It really is bloody expensive. The amount of money that they're asking you to drop for a Tier 7 KV2 with a fun factor of 10 is too much, in my opinion. They could have knocked a tenner off this, and then it would have been the bargain of the century. But they didn't. They've overpriced it, and it's going to put a lot of people off because you can get the same fun out of the Tier 6 Tech Tree freebie KV2. Doesn't remove the fact that I had bundles of fun in it. And I can't, you know I keep saying that, but I did, guys. I had bundles of fun in it. I mean, I giggled my little arse off driving in every single game. And, you know, I just thought it was interesting and funny. But my friend Harrier77 does that every time he rolls out a KV2. So what's the big deal? I mean, look at this. Goodbye. Maybe not. Oh, that's a shame. I thought you had you there, but I didn't. And this is the thing, you know, you're not always wiping tanks out in one go. Here comes that smasher again. I've switched to AP. Get round the corner. He's on 700, I think, health. Get round the corner. Get round the corner. Yeah, goodbye. And you can do stuff like that, and it's a good giggle. But 30 quid is still a lot. Anyway, guys, I've been Fujit, and that's been the Smasher, the Tier 7 Hybrid Nation Collector's Tank, which is basically a KV2 on steroids. Going in the stores right now for 30 quid, near as damn it. And my top advice would be, don't buy it. Wait, play with the KV2, get used to that. Anyway, if you've got any decent replays, guys, by all means send them to me, fujitsblitz@gmail.com. If you found this enlightening or interesting, please press like. Please, by all means, comment below, because that's always a nice thing to do. And if you haven't already, press subscribe, because that's really a nice thing to do. And until the next time, stay safe out there, have fun on the battlefield, and happy tanking, because that's what it's all about, having fun and being happy.